What does the word ownership mean to you? When you say that something is yours or someone is yours, what does that mean? I've taken the time to look at the definition of ownership. Ownership can be acceptance. You accept that you are related or that you are the owner, the author of that thing. So acceptance can start from you saying that this is mine. This is mine by creation, mine by birth, by faith, or whatever reason that brings you to claim it. That declaration that it is yours. The other way that you can come about owning something is when it's awarded. It's awarded or rewarded. But even so, you have to accept it and claim it and make it yours for it to become yours in a certain respect. Ownership can be a sense of belonging. You belong in this group, whether it's at work or family, whether it's a gang, or however it is stated in a way that you own it as yours. I'm Christian. That means that you're accepting ownership of that faith, a relationship that is valuable for you enough for you to acknowledge and proclaim it as part of your belonging. Ownership can mean that you're a bearer of something, that you have made that decision either by passion or purpose to own somebody's pain, to own somebody's decisions and participate in something that makes you accountable to that thing by ownership, by accepting that responsibility, that role, and that duty. And so you find that the word ownership is forever shifting. And for that reason, it confuses and creates a lot of problems that I really want us to explore today and clarify and start to think differently about the word. When you fall in love with somebody, do you then own them? When you get married to somebody and you adapt that identity which they gave you willingly and things go wrong and you part your ways, do you still own that name that was your identity for 10, 20, 30 years? Or does it suddenly cease to exist because of that separation? And in that case, what does ownership mean? Is it a belief? Is it an action? Is it a birth? Is it a right? Or is it a decision that shifts and changes according to what suits you and meets your need and meets the legal requirements or any other rules and regulations of any institution that you belong in? My name is Asa, and as usual, I welcome you warmly to Clear Minds and Self Healing. I value you, I appreciate you without owning you, and I implore you to keep participating week after week in our discussions where we learn from each other. If you're new here, please subscribe, join us, and let's learn and grow together. If we are going to talk about ownership, I want to start with self. That's the one simple thing whose ownership is not disputed. You belong to you. You make the decisions that have to first enhance you before anyone else. And the sad truth is that as easy as it is to own yourself by birth, by heritage and everything else, we often put on a bigger fight on other things and other people than we do for ourselves. Owning yourself is a huge part of self-acceptance. What do you do when you're in pain, when your body is aching and telling you how tired it is, when your mind and your heart are in pain and giving you all those warning signs? When you are in those connections and relationships where you, the individual, the owner of this heart and mind and body, is giving you warning signs about how it feels around those things, we do not own that pain. We do not own that shame, that mistake, that value, and that strength which comes from us, the person that we own. We tend to dismiss those emotions and dismiss those characteristics and the value of everything that we own as we fight for those that are owned by other people and that need to be given to us and that can be taken away without our permission. So I want us to really reflect on that. How much ownership do you have on self? When you're in a relationship with somebody, you connecting and deciding to share your lives starts to create a fine line between being with you and owning you. Owning the thoughts that you have as an individual. Because if you're not able to think for yourself, to act for yourself, then it means that you're not yourself. It means that you're not the owner of your body or your mind or your routines and activities. And therefore, being in a relationship and expecting the other person to think like you, to make decisions for you, is almost as valid as owning that person. When you share that space and share the names willingly and engaging in everything that works for the two of you, that is not ownership. And that's where stalking and control and abuse and all the other things come into place, when people struggle with boundaries, with what is mine and what is yours and what is ours. And the healthy thing to do is really take a deeper look at what owning means. When you ask for a favor, the response you expect is not yours to have. It's theirs to give in agreement or disagreement to that favor or request that you have made. When it comes to ownership, there are a few things that are ranking in the boat of what we fight over and what we claim to be ours, and which actually secretly take away and hurt us more than we think we are. If ownership means something that is yours, and then ownership should be something that is healing you, that is contributing to you. If you have stored some things and emotions and people and decisions in your life that are eating you up like termite and rust and rats, then those things own you. Because the actions and the feelings and the emotions are not within your control. If they are bashing you and hurting you and tainting you, then their power over yours illustrates that they own you. Think about power. Think about love. Think about money. Think about items. We own that person. We own that project. We own that business and that emotion. But unless it's contributing positive value to your life, it owns you. It consumes you. It overwhelms you. And that means that you're lying to yourself when you declare ownership on that thing that you have no control over. That thing that is having its own life in your life. That is pulling your hair out. Do you own it? When you own something, it aligns with you. It gives you joy. It gives you peace. It gives you gratitude and contentment. And one of the biggest things that you should own and love and appreciate and glorify is you. You do not have to fight with anybody over you. Your health, your well-being, your growth, your education, and your joy, they belong to you. And if you struggle with those, if you put those aside to go and fight for things that people will give you permission to own, then you're already living with a shadow. So what is ownership to you? And what are the things that are precious to you? Do you own them, or are they borrowed and waiting to walk away at some point of your life without your permission, leaving you broken, leaving you confused, in a position where you have to redefine that identity that you've built all your life around ownership? Do you own your children, or are you here to guide and mold them towards a positive life? Do you own your partners? Do you own the goods that we find in this world, or are they here to make your precious life comfortable and happy, to make you grateful and have a positive outcome in this life? So I ask you again, what is your understanding of the word ownership? What value do those things that you own and fight for bring to your life? Think about it and impress someone with this message.